11-year-old Coraline Jones and her parents have just moved into a grand old house. The house is subdivided into 4 flats. A crazy old man lives upstairs. He tells Coraline that he's training a mouse circus. Yeah, right. Miss Spink and Miss Forcible live in the flat below. They tell her that they were once glamorous stage actresses, if you say so. But the flat next to Coraline's is empty. How mysterious. Coraline loves to explore, so she investigates the grounds around the house. There's an overgrown garden, a wooded area with giant old trees, a rundown tennis court, and an old boarded-up well. One day, Coraline finds a locked door in their drawing room. Is there a secret room? Her mum tells her that the door probably leads into the empty flat next door. It's bricked up now. That night, Coraline is woken by strange sounds. She notices tiny red eyes that lead her into the drawing room, and the door is ajar. The next day, Coraline decides to visit Miss Spink and Miss Forcible for afternoon tea. They insist on reading her tea leaves, which tell them she is in grave danger. Miss Spink gives her a stone with a hole in it and says it might help. While her parents are out running errands, Coraline decides to try the mysterious door in the drawing room again. When she unlocks and opens the door, she's no longer faced with bricks, but a cold, dark hallway. Being a brave explorer, Coraline ventures in. When she emerges at the end of the hallway, she feels very confused. It seems like she's re-entered her own flat. And in the kitchen stands her mother. But her fingers are too long and claw-like, and when she turns around, she has black buttons for eyes. She introduces herself to Coraline as her other mother. There's an other father too, and they are both attentive and caring to Coraline, a bit different to her real parents who are always busy and distracted. While roaming the grounds, Coraline meets a black cat. But this cat can talk. He tells her he's the same black cat as the one she'd seen in the real world. He has the amazing ability to move between worlds, but he doesn't think much of it. Is that a cat thing? Coraline then decides to visit the other Miss Spink and Miss Forcible. Their apartment is now a theatre where they perform fantastical acts for an audience of dogs. The dogs tell her that these shows never end. When she returns to her other parents, they tell her that she can stay with them forever. This place is filled with fun and wonder. It seems too good to be true. But Coraline soon finds out the catch. She must sew black buttons on her eyes. No thanks. Coraline rushes back through the door in the drawing room into her old flat. When she turns around, the doorway is filled with the red bricks once again. She makes sure she locks the door behind her. Back in the real world, her parents have still not returned. That seems strange. In the middle of the night, the black cat wakes her up and takes her to the hallway mirror. There in the mirror, look, her parents were standing, looking helpless, inside the mirror. Coraline knows she will need to save her parents. Before returning to the other world, she tells the cat a memory about courage. Her father once took her for a walk in a wasteland. Suddenly, they were attacked by a swarm of angry wasps. Her father stayed behind to be stung so that Coraline could have a chance to run away. He lost his glasses in the chase and, after tending to his wounds, went back that very afternoon to retrieve them. He told her that courage was not staying when Coraline needed to escape, Courage was knowing that the wasps were there and still choosing to go back. Now it's Coraline's turn to be brave. In the other world, Coraline tries to confront the other mother about her missing parents, but the other mother isn't confessing anything. Instead, she locks the drawing room door shut. Coraline is trapped. But she doesn't panic, nor does she show fear. Instead, Coraline begins to plot her escape. The next day, Coraline looks for the other mother but finds her other father in the study instead. Except he looks weird today, like dough that has been left to rise for too long. He reveals that the whole world was created for Coraline, like a custom-made trap. She decides to test out his claims by exploring the world outside. In the drawing room, Coraline notices a snow globe on the mantelpiece that has two figures standing in it. She takes a quick look, but decides to leave it there. As Coraline heads into the woods, the trees begin to lose their shape, and she walks in a circle back to the house. The black cat explains that the other mother hasn't bothered to create a whole world, just enough to entice Coraline. Back at the house, Coraline notices that it's chillingly quiet. The other mother suggests they spend some quality time together, but Coraline isn't having it. As punishment, the other mother throws her in a dark, tiny room behind the hallway mirror. The little room isn't empty, though. 3 ghost children dwell there, and their whispery voices warn Coraline that the other mother is pure evil. They are the other mother's past abandoned victims. She has their souls, and now they're trapped. As Coraline drifts off to sleep in this strange room, one of the ghost children whispers something to her. "Look through the stone." Remember the stone Miss Spink gave her? It's a good thing Coraline kept it. When the other mother decides that Coraline has had enough time out, she retrieves her from the little room. Once Coraline is fully awake, she challenges the other mother to a game. The prize? Her freedom. If she loses, she'll surrender herself to the other mother and let her sew black buttons on her eyes. Those are pretty high stakes. Is this Coraline's chance to escape? Or is she being terribly foolish? To win the game, Coraline must find the children's lost souls and her missing parents. The other mother agrees, and the game begins. Coraline searches her other bedroom first. It doesn't seem very promising initially, but she remembers the ghost voice telling her to look through the stone. There, a small marble is glowing against the grey world. She's found the ghost boy's soul. She decides to check the other Miss Spink and Miss Forcible's apartment next. It is dark and empty. The eternal show is over, and the dogs have been transformed into nasty dog bats. Inside a waxy cocoon at the back of the stage are the 2 figures of Mrs. Spink and Forcible, but they're all mashed together and horrible looking. With the help of the stone, Coraline reaches into the cocoon and pries the marble from their fingers. The deformed figure awakes. Coraline takes the marble and runs for her life, dodging the swooping dog bats on the way out. Phew, that was close. The other mother meets her outside and gives Coraline a little hint. She literally coughs up a key, gross, and hands it to Coraline. It's the key to the empty flat. It's eerie in this flat. Coraline descends into a cellar where she spies a mound on the ground. She realises it's the other father, now nothing more than a doughy, deformed mess. The other mother compels him to attack Coraline against his will. With cat-like reflexes, Coraline yanks out his remaining button eye and makes her escape. The final place to look is the upstairs flat. This one is filled with junk, and there are rats everywhere. The old man tries to convince Coraline to stay in this world. Who doesn't want to have an endless supply of fun? But Coraline doesn't buy it. She explains that getting everything you want all the time is meaningless and dull. She uses the stone to find the soul inside the old man's clothes, but as she approaches him, he falls apart. Rats scatter everywhere, and one of them is escaping with the marble. Coraline pursues it outside, but the house is losing its shape and she trips down the stairs. Realising she's lost the rat, Coraline loses hope. But, right on cue, the black cat appears with a big dead rat and the marble it was carrying. Bravo! Coraline has the last soul. Suddenly, the house flattens like a crude drawing. Now there's only one way out, the drawing room door. Coraline picks up the cat and enters the house. It's time to face the other mother once and for all. In the drawing room, she tells the other mother that her parents are hidden in the passageway behind the door. The other mother triumphantly opens the door to show Coraline that she's wrong. But this was all part of Coraline's plan, and she throws the cat at the other mother. With the other mother distracted and bleeding from the cat's sharp claws, Coraline grabs the snow globe from the mantelpiece. She then calls for the cat to follow her, and they bolt through the door. An evil wind picks up, and it's only with the help of ghostly hands that Coraline can start to close the door. At the last second, the other mother lunges for them. Finally, the door slams shut, but Coraline hears a scuttling thump of something hitting the floor. It's too dark to see what it is. Emerging into her own real flat, Coraline locks the door behind her. She sits in a sunlit armchair in the drawing room and, overcome with relief and exhaustion, drifts off to sleep. When Coraline wakes up, her real mother is there and her real father is in his study. Coraline embraces them enthusiastically, although they're not sure why. It seems that they have no memory of their 2-day ordeal, which is probably for the best. That night, Coraline dreams of a wonderful picnic and afternoon of games with the 3 ghost children. They thank her for rescuing them, but they also warn her to be careful. The other mother is still after her. She wakes in the morning to the sound of something scuttling, and there, she sees the other mother's bony white claw escape through the front door. Coraline knows it's after the key to the drawing room door, which she keeps safely hung around her neck. Coraline hatches a plan. She goes to the old well and heaves off the heavy boards. She then lays out a picnic right over the exposed well and pretends to hold a tea party. She places the key in the centre and waits. Suddenly, the hand leaps out from the woods, grasping for the key. It lands on the rug and tumbles down into the well. After she hears the splash, Coraline replaces the heavy planks to make sure the key and the hand are trapped forever. That night, as she settles into bed, Coraline thinks she can hear sweet music in the air, as though it's being played on tiny instruments. Maybe the old man's mouse circus was real after all. Then again, after everything Coraline has experienced in the last few days, anything is possible. Do you have any mysterious doors, rooms, or passageways in your home? If you do, watch out. Or at least see what the cat says about it first. We hope you enjoyed this Schooling Online production. For more easy lessons, check out our other videos.